It's my feel-good breakfast show.
While the medical world scrambles to find both a cure and a vaccine for the coronavirus, many people are wondering at the moment, especially here in South Africa as we enter flu season, whether getting a flu vaccine would help reduce their chances of contracting COVID-19. So we thought we'd chat to our resident Dr. Michael Mol to get his take on this. Mike, always great to connect with you. How are you doing?
Hey, Graham, always good, man. Still healthy, still breathing clearly, and not too many coughs, so all good.
That is music to my ears, my friend, because normally around this time of the year, we would start to see the flu kind of working its way in, and a lot of us would naturally be going for a flu jab if that's your preference. Do you think people should be getting the flu jab this year? Where do you stand on the flu jab in general?
What's interesting, you said if that's your preference, Graham. I reckon everybody should be getting a flu jab every single year. And the reason is because it actually works. No vaccine can obviously be 100% effective, but studies have shown that protection from the flu vaccine in healthy adults is around 70 to 90% when that vaccine recipe is well matched to the actual influenza strains that come along for the season. So, yeah, Graham, preference or not, you should be getting a flu vaccine, if you can, every year.
Get it, and it is readily available, and it's been made quite easy to get now, which I think a lot of people are now starting to drift into this thought now, will a flu jab help to protect us in some way from getting COVID-19? Is there a connection?
So no, the flu vaccine is designed to prevent infections with influenza viruses, which are quite different from coronaviruses, obviously, but that's not to say there isn't a connection. And that's why it's important we're talking about this. As I said, the flu vaccine won't prevent you from getting a coronavirus, but it can help the health system better respond to the outbreak of COVID-19, essentially, helping to flatten the curve without the frustrations of lockdown.
Would it be correct to assume then that if you had flu, and especially a severe case of flu, would you be more vulnerable to get COVID-19 and possibly in a worse state if you were to contract it? Would you be more susceptible to the dangers?
So, Graham, it's a good point. I mean, your immune system is an impressive machine, but fighting off two viruses at once is a bit of a stretch, especially when both influenza and COVID tend to prefer, the lower respiratory system. And coming back to your previous question, I mean, if people get their flu shots, fewer people are going to come down with the flu and come into clinics and doctors' rooms with non-specific symptoms, fever and cough, which overlap with symptoms of COVID-19. And that means that having fewer flu patients is going to make it easier to find and, more importantly, treat the patients with COVID-19. I mean, to give you some perspective, again, I mentioned a little bit earlier, but amongst healthy adults, the flu vaccine reduces hospital admissions by 90%. So, yeah, absolutely, man.
And that obviously brings to bear, I mean, part of the reason why we've had to prepare our health systems, it's not just for those that are going to be contracting COVID-19, but it's what about everyone else that gets sick while this massive strain is being put on our hospital system or our healthcare system. So I've got to ask, and this might be a bit of a silly question, but I kind of tend to have this impression. Is it true that when you get a flu jab, it actually gives you the flu to prompt your body's immune system? How does it actually work?
So you're not the only one, Graham. I mean, a lot of people don't want to get the flu jab because they're just going to get the flu, and that is a myth. It's a big myth. Vaccinations often get misunderstood because they're created from the offending viruses themselves. But when you get the flu shot, you're not being injected with the whole virus. You're receiving an inactivated or a dead virus, if you like. That means the part of the virus that can infect you and make you sick is essentially turned off, but the part of the virus that stimulates your body to create antibodies, that's still on. And your body's antibodies are going to kill the flu virus as if it comes into contact with you later. So that's the whole idea behind the flu vaccine. You cannot get flu from the flu vaccine. You might, I suppose the only real side effect from a flu jab is a bit of a sore arm, and there's nothing like a little bit of TLC to fix that.
And knowing that you've tricked your immune system into thinking that it's gotten flu. Who should be having the flu vaccine?
Graham, I mean, another great question. The vaccine is safe and it's an effective tool, and so recommended for everybody, as we said right up front. But there are specific groups for whom it's even more important, and those would be people who are at high risk for flu and its complications because of any underlying medical conditions, things like heart disease and HIV and diabetes. Everyone over the age of 65, you should be getting a flu jab. Mom and dad, flu jabs every single year. Adults and kids who are in close contact with high-risk cases also, and of course, medical and nursing staff responsible for the care of high-risk cases. All of those individuals shouldn't even be a preference. It should be a must get the flu jab. And I guess, Graham, I mean, if you're worried about having a flu jab on top of everything else that's going on right now, give your doctor a call. Give one of our Hello Doctor doctors a call if you want to know. My suggestion is have the flu jab. If you're not sure, speak to a doctor.
Well, I'm glad we've got you on speed dial to chat to whenever we need you. Thank you so much for giving a very clear indication around that. For me, the numbers don't lie. I suppose the overriding message here is go and get your flu jab. Hopefully you found that helpful as well.